Hey there, and welcome to how I batch edit using Portraiture and awesome actions in Photoshop. I have had a lot of questions recently on videos about batch editing using Portraiture and actions. So I was editing these images today of the beautiful Cameron, and I thought I would just go ahead and quickly show you guys how I do that. So let's get started. So I keep having people ask about Portraiture and how I batch edit with Portraiture. So this is the lovely Cameron. She's one of my little regular models. She's wearing a Bentley and Lace rental dress, and it is an Intuition sweep backdrop. Isn't it beautiful? So what I've done is I've prepped these images. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images of Cameron. And they're pretty much ready to run the actions that I always run and also Portraiture. So I usually will run Portraiture before I run my actions. I just think it looks better that way when the skin pops after Portraiture when I run those actions. I'm going to be using Than Gatsby Actions that will be linked below the video, and I'm also going to be using a couple Jessica Drossin Actions that are just kind of some basic favorites. Also Portraiture, which is Imaginomics, and it will be in your filter category when you download it. So what I do is I have my image ready to run it. I go into filter and then I go to Portraiture 3. And I'm going to tell you how I do it. Okay, so when it comes up, you have these two little droppers, okay? You can do it any way you want. There's other videos. I'm just going to quickly show you guys how I do it. So I choose the little eyedropper, and as you can see, this mask pulls up below it, which is right here. It's showing you where Portraiture believes that your skin is. So what's really cool about Portraiture is that, let's say she had some crazy hair that day. What's really cool is if you see as I hold the eyedropper over the hair, it actually shows where the mask is on the hair to the left, if you can see that, and you can actually smooth hair with it. Or if the dress was, say, a skin color, which it's not, you can smooth a dress, or sometimes a backdrop if you can find a color in the backdrop that Portraiture would believe to be a skin tone. So the way I usually will do the skin is, as you can see, she has some darker areas right here, back here. You can run it there, or I kind of sometimes try to get a mid-tone. So if you watch that mask, which is right here, you can see that usually I will do like between the eyebrows, but since she has some darker spots, I will usually kind of move. Do you see how when I move, the mask changes? So I like to go about midway, and that's good with me. And then I'm going to hit OK. If you want to control this, there are 2 ways you can do it. I'm going to zoom in and show you. Okay, I've zoomed in to show you that I'm going to go to my history, actually. You see the before and the after. Before, after. Now, let's say she had freckles or it was too much on her eyebrows. Sometimes the kids don't have very dark eyebrows, and sometimes it will actually mess with their eyebrows. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways you can mask that off. So one way I did not do it was I can duplicate my image and then mask back on that. I'll do that on another image so that you can see. Actually, I'm going to do it here in just a second. Okay, back up. Sorry about that. One way you can do it is with the history brush right here. It looks like a little paintbrush, but with an arrow. So if I go to history brush, I can go into my history. That would be my image. Everything I've done with my image, if you scroll to the top, you can see that it's going to mask back to the original image. I don't want to do that. I want to just do one step back. So I'm going back, setting my history brush when you click this square to where I want it to go back to. So I want it to go back to right before I did Portraiture. So I've got my brush. I want it on 100%. You can see my opacity right here. And I'm going to go down to about her eyebrows, and you can see it paint back those eyebrows. And let's say I didn't want these little baby hairs to be, you see how it's masking those back? And it did, smooth some of her hair. So I'm going to show you guys. See? And that you can always go back to your history and that can tell you. I'm going to command parenthesis to go back to fit the screen. So that's one way you can do it. Okay, so now if I were going to go ahead and run Portraiture on this batch of images, what I can do is I can run Portraiture on the same, let's say, lighting setting. So if I change the background to say a darker background and a different color of dress, the portraiture is going to be different because the lighting on her face is going to be different and the coloring on her face is going to be different. But if let's say I go to the next image, I can go down to filter, and right here at the top, you can actually run the last filter that you did, which would be the portraiture filter that we just did. So I'm going to zoom in. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to Command J, and what that's going to do is that's going to duplicate my background over here, as you can see. So then I'm going to go ahead and run that portraiture on the duplicated image, and I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to go over to this duplicated image, and I'm going to turn it off and turn it on. As you can see, there we go. Okay, let's say I wanted to get it off of her eyebrows again. So I have my duplicated image right here on this layer, which is just a copy of this layer, my background original image, and this is the layer that I've run Portraiture on. So what I can do is I can come down to the bottom and I can click Add Layer Mask. And what that's going to let me do is it's basically a clear layer that I'm going to be able to adjust. So right now it's white. So when the layer is white, you can go back to this with the black brush. Or you can Command I, which is invert it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the black brush so that I can paint back her eyebrows, as you can see there. So pretty. And I'm going to Command parentheses to go back to fit the image. Okay, I'm going to flatten that image and I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to zoom in so that you guys can see. I'm just going to go up to Filter and run Portraiture. Then I'm going to go to the next image. I'm just going to zoom in so that you can see. I'm going to go to Filter, Portraiture. There we go. Her eyebrows are a little bit too faded in that one. And then I'm going to go to Filter and Portraiture. And as you can see, that did Portraiture on all of them super quick, okay? So I'm going to go back to this one, and I think I'm going to paint her eyebrows back. That sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to go to History. This is going to be the easy way. I'm going to choose my History brush. Remember, it's the paint brush with the little arrow. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go one back, set my History brush to that layer, and then I'm just going to paint her little eyebrows back. There we go. We don't want to make Cameron's eyebrows disappear. She's seriously the best, you guys. Like, her mom literally made me cry today. She sent me a message. She wore this dress yesterday, sent me a message and said, Mom, she told her mother after they left, Mom, April is such an angel for letting us wear these dresses. I was like, you made me cry. Okay, so while I have you here, I'm going to go ahead. If you just wanted to know how I batch edit with Portraiture, there you go. If you want to stick around and see how I'm going to use Greater Than Gatsby Actions to enhance these images a little bit, come on, stick around. Okay, my two favorite for studio portraits, Greater Than Gatsby Actions are from the Painterly collection, not Painterly 2. There are some I like from that, but my main favorites are from Painterly, the original. And so over here, my two most used ones are Leonardo and Campbell's soup cans, okay? So when I do these dream dress sessions, my lighting situation is pretty much the same every time. So what I did is I actually made a folder of my 4 most used actions for my dream dress sessions, which is what this is. I put Leonardo and Campbell's soup in there. So I'm going to go ahead and run Leonardo, and I'm actually going to batch edit it on all of these. So I'm going to go to File, and what that's going to do is it's going to run whatever action I tell it to on all open images. So I go to File, you go down to Automate, and go to batch. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull up a little window. And now my actions are already in this folder, Dream Dress Sessions. You would just go to whatever folder your image or your actions that you want to use is in. And then, so this is Dream Dress, which I've created. Then I'm going to go down to Leonardo, and then I'm going to have it run that. The thing with Leonardo, though, is it really pops the blues in an image, as you'll see here in just a second. And so sometimes I have to go in and tone those down a little bit, which is fine. No big deal. I'll show you how to do that. It's worth it just because of how it pops the images. Is Cameron not just stunning? I love her to pieces. She is just the best. Her and her sister are both awesome. Okay, so as you can see, it has greatly popped the greens and the blues. And, you know, if you like that style, cool. I was actually shooting this dress in the backdrop for Intuition and Bentley and Lace. So I'm going to try to get it just a little bit more, a little bit closer, truer to tones. So I know that from using Leonardo foundation over and over that the two main ones that pop the colors like that are okay, I should go back. So here's Leonardo foundation. If you see this little arrow right here, that means that you can open that and then it will pull down all the things that it does, okay? So you can go down and let's say you don't want a vignette. Let's say you don't want the center light or you want to tone it down. That's what we're going to do. So I already toned down the Leonardo ColourPop one. And so if you can see, I'm going to show you why. You see that? Which is lovely, right? But it's just a little bit too much in this image. So I'm going to bring it down to about 50%, where I still get that color pop, as you can see, but it's toned it down a little bit, and it's a little bit truer to the background color. Okay, I'm going to actually bring it back up to 50. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and go in and do this on, oh gosh, is she not stunning? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this on all of them. And, you know, if you're in the same lighting situation, it's highly likely that you're going to do the same thing to all of them. This one actually doesn't look so bad, but so that it goes with, one of the most important things I feel like in my own photography, I don't judge others' photography for it, but I like my, if I'm this dress with this scene, I want all of them to be consistent. I want them all to look as close as possible. Oh, great. Look, I'm going to be the biggest liar ever. Update Apple ID settings. I don't really want to view it. I don't need to do that right now, Apple, but thank you for offering. Okay, so ColourPop 2, we're going to bring it down. Gosh, I just love her. She's just so pretty. They're just the best. Okay, so this is the last one. And I don't have to do this on every one of them. It's just, you know, the ones that have a lot of blue and green is the ones that I sometimes have to do this to. Okay, so once I ran Leonardo, I'm going to go ahead and go back to batch, just like I did before. And I'm going to go down, I'm going to run Campbell's Soup. Now what it is, it's a little bit of a light color pop, but then it also adds a little bit of warmth into the highlights of the images. And I just really think it adds a lot to them, you'll see. On some images, it's a little bit more subtle, but see, I mean, it just really brings that pop and the color, and it just does beautiful things to the skin tones. And I just love it. Like, I don't even have to do anything with that. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten that image. Now, I love that, okay, and it's beautiful, and you could leave it like that. But what I have found that I absolutely love is the Jessica Drossin Illuminations Instant Overlays Volume 2. I will link that below. So it has some amazing overlays, which I love, but what I really love that she has are these little tweaks that when you add at the end of the image, it really adds a little bit to it, okay? So my favorite one of hers is Gentle Bump, and you'll see that that just pops it just a little bit, and you can always tone it down a little bit, but I'm going to show you. It just gives it that pop, and I just love it. So I'm going to show you that. So this image is done. So I'm going to go ahead and save it and close it, but I'm going to show you one more time how I batch. We're going to batch that gentle bump, okay? So we're going to go, I'm going to actually, okay, well that, actually put that in here. If that ever happens, hold on, I had the mask. I'm going to pull that out of there because I like them to be sorted correctly. I'm a weirdo. You don't have to flatten. You can go ahead and go to File, Automate, Batch. I'm going to find okay, look, okay, what's really cool about this, I'm glad it did this so I could show you. What's really cool about this is when you go into batch, it's going to automatically pull up the last action that you used. And you know what just popped into my mind too? Photographers, don't ever let another photographer shame you or make you feel bad for using actions. Like, that is the most, listen, since October, I've been doing this for 20 years, okay? Don't ever let another photographer tell you you should or should not use actions. That is the biggest load of baloney ever. I'm going to step off of my soapbox now, sorry, but I just have to say that because actions make your life so much easier. I love them. Can I achieve this by hand editing? 100%. Do I want to? No. Ain't nobody have time for that, and I definitely don't. So there's that. Okay, back to this. Okay, JD Illuminations Instant Overlays Volume 2, and then Gentle Bump. So what that's going to do is it's going to play this on all of them. Depending on the speed of your computer, you know, it may take longer. So this one, I think it did it just a little bit too much because I'm looking at the shadows and it's kind of pulled those shadows just a little bit. I'll show you what I'm talking about. You see how it kind of makes those a little bit more contrasty. I didn't want that, but my gosh, is that image not, I love her. I know I've said it 50 times, but she just always does such a good job for me. And then I'm going to save you guys watching me save that. And this one is pretty good. I'm noticing right here on the bodice of the dress, it's the highlights are a little bit muchy. Yeah. Okay. So when that happens, sometimes this action will do that. And sometimes I love what it does to the skin. And the reason it's doing this is because you can see that her body is turned. My light source is over here. And it's an easy fix. You just click on the mask. Okay. By mask, I mean this little white square within the action. Okay. All I have to do is make sure that my brush is black, not the history brush, the regular brush. My opacity is 100% and my mode is normal. To make the brush larger and smaller quick keys, I use the bracket key to make it bigger and the bracket key to make it smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask that action off of this dress. Because this is shot for this dress designer and I want people that could possibly be renting this dress to see what it really looks like. As you can see, it's just a little bit of a pop, but it's so worth it. I love it. Let's go see what it did to the next one. Yep, same. So we're going to watch those highlights. I'm going to make sure that that's clicked on there, and I'm just going to brush it off of this dress. As you can, I'm going to show you before, after. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Oopsies. I'm going to go, I was downloading some fun little overlays from Etsy, and that's what that's from. Okay, last one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to mask it. Do you see? So watch this area right here. When I turn it off and on, it's just blowing those highlights, and I love what it's doing to my skin, but not so much this dress. So you can easily and quickly just brush this off of that. And we're done. Beautiful. All right. See how easy that is? It's so easy and it makes your life so much easier. I love it so much. If you guys have any questions, please, please, please don't be afraid to comment below. Okay. Instagram. I have an Instagram if you're interested in following me. If not, that's okay too. But I hope that this video was helpful to you. And like I said, if you have any questions, comment below. Thank you guys for joining me. Bye.